Okay, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Mariah McCracken. I'm a faculty member at St. Ed's, and I am happy to have you here with us at the 2020 Honors Thesis Symposium. Not how we intended, but we're going to do this anyway. I'm happy to present our next speaker, Megan Ranus, and her mentor, Dr. Delia Pascos. I'm going to cue up the video, get that started. If questions should come in while you're listening to the video and you want to make sure you write them down so you don't forget, please send those via the chat window and we'll have time for Q&A and we'll let the mentor say a few lovely words about our presenter here. So if you'll bear with me, I will get us started. Hopefully with few errors. And as always, please feel free, give me a thumbs up as the video begins to play, just so I know you guys are hearing everything okay.
Hi, my name is Megan Ranus. Thank you for listening to my thesis presentation today. My thesis is on preventative and responsive measures to address increasing female delinquency. I have always been interested in learning about the criminal justice system, so I knew when I was searching for a thesis topic, I wanted to include that. And this fall, I did an internship at Girls Empowerment Network and led confidence building groups for girls in elementary and middle school. This internship and my passion for working with kids made me interested in the female juvenile population in relation with the justice system, and it made me more curious about how young girls become involved with the justice system. When I began researching this topic, I found a common pattern in these searches, which was that almost all of the articles mentioned how behind the justice system is in developing programs suited for girls before and after delinquency. The idea of young girls getting stuck in the justice system without support surprised and frustrated me, which led to the development of my thesis. My research included a review of literature from law, psychology, and social work journals, books, and government databases, which studied female juvenile delinquents and the different preventative and responsive measures that are available for them. While overall juvenile delinquency has decreased, female juvenile arrests increased from 21% to 30% over the last 4 decades. Males have always been in the majority in the justice system, and because females are in the minority, there is a history of less research being conducted to understand this population. This means that many of the programs that were available to juveniles were once suitable for males but not females, due to their differences in risk factors and characteristics. A lack of knowledge has also led to stereotypes about female delinquents, such as the idea that they are weak, which has created even less emphasis on them. The limited knowledge, stereotypes, and fewer females in the justice system has led to a deficiency of programs and support for females in both pre-delinquency and post-delinquency. I would like to discuss more about the focus of my research, female juvenile delinquents. My research is focused on females, but I did include research about males in order to compare the two. As I mentioned, there were some limitations to my research because of the lack of research overall, so I was not able to discuss specific groups of female juveniles who may have a different experience in the justice system, such as females with different demographics, whether that is race, socioeconomic level, or gender identity. My research included juveniles between the ages of 6 and 17. This is based on data from the National Center of Juvenile Justice. As you can see in this graphic, the majority of states do not have a specified minimum age to be considered a juvenile in the justice system. The lowest age is 6 years old in North Carolina, so that is the age I used for my research in order to have the most access to different research. In this graphic, you can see the maximum age to be considered a juvenile in different states. The majority of states use the age of 17 for the maximum juvenile age, so that is the age I used, again, for the same reasons, so that I'd have more access to different research. For my thesis, I also only included research from the United States. There is data that shows that other countries in the world have or are experiencing something similar to the females in the United States, but this thesis does not cover those experiences. This mostly has to do with me wanting to narrow my topic down more. I also did not break down my research based on offense that the female juveniles commit. The majority of offenses committed by female juveniles are status offenses or actions that are only illegal because the offender is a minor, such as running away. So most of my thesis includes research about these offenses. I also wanted to mention that because of the type of research available on this population, the information in my thesis may be subjective and biased. Most of the research I found included self-reported survey data, which can lead to some biases. Unfortunately, because of the population of interest, it is difficult to conduct research using more objective and potentially less biased methods. It is difficult to access juveniles in the justice system. As mentioned before, the research on female delinquency is lacking. Therefore, finding resources for this thesis has been challenging, and this research is clearly an area that merits further attention and future investigation. I wanted to go over a summary of what my thesis actually covers. My thesis included research about societal perceptions about female delinquents and unique characteristics and risk factors for female juveniles, as well as research about the different programs available for this population, including preventative programs, post-delinquency programs, and best practices for programs. The research on societal perceptions, unique characteristics, and risk factors is important because all of these have impacted or will impact the available programs for female juveniles. The rest of this presentation will only cover the available programs, but I may refer to other sections at different times throughout the presentation. So first, preventative programs. These are programs for female juveniles prior to committing an offense. Again, because there has been a lack of research on female juveniles, there's a lack of preventative programs available for females. More preventative measures could help impede the increase of females in the justice system, especially if they include risk factors that are especially important for females. Female and male juveniles have some similar risk factors for delinquency, but they are often affected differently by them, and some risk factors may be more impactful for either males or females. One of the preventative programs I researched is Stop Now and Plan Girls Connection, or SNAP-GC. This program was developed by the Child Development Institute. It focuses on pre-adolescent girls, ages 6 to 11, who exhibit aggressive behavior and may be at risk for delinquency in the future. SNAP-GC is evidence-based and gender-responsive, which means that this program has been studied and shown to be effective, and it is based on the actual needs and risk factors of female juveniles. This program is also family-focused and has programs for both girls and their guardians. This is important because a healthy family is a protective factor for female delinquency. This program helps girls work on self-control, emotional regulation, and problem-solving skills, which can aid as protective factors for delinquency. Another preventative program I researched is Girls Inc. Friendly Persuasion. This is a program which focuses on girls who are at risk for substance abuse. Females in the juvenile justice system face high levels of trauma, and some female delinquents may abuse substances as a way to cope with past trauma. By abusing substances, female juveniles may become involved with substance-related arrests. This program could help girls to not lean on substance abuse as a coping mechanism. It would be important for a girl in this program to seek additional help if she had experienced abuse or trauma. This program also helps develop leadership skills. Once a girl has been through the program, she has the opportunity to help lead parts of the program as a persuader. This leadership opportunity can help girls feel empowered, which can be a protective factor for delinquency. The program also teaches coping mechanisms for stress and how to handle peer and media pressure. Post-delinquency programs, or responsive measures, are programs for female juveniles already involved with the justice system. These responsive measures could decrease recidivism or reoffending and help females after justice system involvement. One post-delinquency program I found that was shown to be effective is the Practical Academic Cultural Education, or PACE Center for Girls. This is a responsive measure program, a gender-responsive program that is based in Florida. This is an option for girls between 12 and 17 years old who have been involved with the criminal justice system or who may become involved. This program focuses on the needs of female juveniles involved with the justice system. This research included an interview instrument that allowed the National Council on Crime and Delinquency, or NCCD, to review the factors that led to girls' delinquent actions and behaviors. The research indicated that certain risk factors, such as mental health issues, family history, and abuse, were prevalent in the sample study. By conducting this research, PACE was able to develop programming that best fit the population that they are serving. Another option for responsive measures is cognitive behavioral interventions, or dialectical behavioral therapy, or DBT. The cognitive behavioral interventions may also include therapy. The aim of both measures is to encourage a change in negative behaviors. The therapy focuses on the patient becoming conscious of their own thoughts and behaviors and choosing to make changes in their behaviors. These measures include different techniques, such as problem solving and support. These may be helpful to female offenders with more severe emotional issues. These measures are not gender specific, and they may require additional measures, but they are shown to be effective for females. While more programs have been developed recently, there's still much room for growth. Based on my research, these are some of the best practices that should be included in preventative and responsive programs. These are not the only practices that should be included in the programs, but these are the ones that were often discussed in my research. As I mentioned before, females in the juvenile justice system face high levels of trauma. This includes sexual, physical, and emotional abuse. Child maltreatment and abuse impacts the development of children, which often leads to psychological disorders and problems within relationships, while also increasing the risk of delinquent behaviors. Abuse can sometimes lead to girls running away from home, which then can result in their arrest due to running away or other crimes that they may have committed due to them running away. Despite other factors being involved with the arrest of a female juvenile, it is the abuse and trauma that needs the attention of measures and programs. Therefore, programs should include trauma-informed care, knowledge on adverse childhood experiences or ACEs, and skills to develop resiliency. The ACE study was important in understanding how the experiences a person has as a child can impact them later in life. Research concluded that exposure to adverse experiences as a child can lead to emotional, social, and cognitive issues, as well as health issues that can cause a person to develop risk factors leading to delinquency. By understanding how these adverse experiences can impact juveniles, providers can develop a better understanding of how to respond to children and help them to develop resiliency instead of getting stuck in the justice system. Healthy families are a protective factor for delinquency. Females also have more family conflict compared to male juveniles. This conflict within a female juvenile's family can lead to increased risk of female delinquency. Therefore, programs should try to improve family communication, family relationships, and parenting practices. One tool for this is multi-systemic therapy. This therapy has a goal to improve family relationships and parenting practices. Having a caring and supportive family is crucial to reducing delinquency in females. This therapy is also supposed to improve school performance and help the juvenile develop other healthy relationships, which are both other protective factors for female delinquency. This measure is not gender specific, but it is shown to be effective for females. Another risk factor for female delinquency is mental health issues. Female juvenile delinquents are shown to have much higher rates of mental health disorders compared to male juvenile delinquents. In fact, in one study in a sample of 173 male and female delinquents, 27% of males and 84% of females had a mental disorder. Therefore, programs should include therapy or some other options that aim to improve the mental health of female juveniles. In the past 2 decades, considerable progress has been made in understanding and supporting the female juvenile delinquent population. Despite this, for my research, I found that there were still gaps in information and research. More research should be conducted on females in general, different races and ethnicities, different socioeconomic levels, and different gender identities and sexualities, so that females of all different backgrounds are getting the support that they need. Just as male and female juveniles have different needs and risk factors for delinquency, so do female juveniles with different backgrounds. Continued research, education, and implementation of new programs leads to better lives for female juveniles, which is one of the ultimate goals of these programs. All right, thank you so much for coming to my presentation. I would also like to go ahead and thank my advisor, Dr. Kay, for all of the support and feedback she's given me. I would also like to thank my family and friends for all of their compassion and support as I've worked on this project. And here are my citations. Thank you for listening to my thesis today.
Okay, I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Kay, who will say a few words about her mentor, her mentee, I apologize.
All right, sorry, I had to unmute myself. Hello, everyone. Hey, Megan, you did a great job. I didn't expect anything less from you. So it's been a pleasure working with you. I've had you in multiple classes, knew you were an excellent student, and was quite flattered when you asked me to supervise your honors thesis. Was very interested in the material that you were wanting to cover, saw how passionate you were about that, which made my job a lot easier. So I really served more as, with assistance in terms of organization and scope and editing. So this project is all Megan. So she did an amazing job, comprehensive literature review, and a great presentation. I really enjoyed it. So congratulations, one of our outstanding psychology majors. So lots of kudos to go around for Megan.
Thank you.
Yeah, let's do a round of applause, and that'll give everybody
awesome.
a chance.
So proud of you.
From our homes to you. Yeah, as we kind of get towards the end here, please send questions via the chat and we will get those answered. I'm going to kick us off if that's okay. Megan, I was wondering, you were talking about therapy options. Did you explore things like expressive arts therapy, and if that was of particular use for female delinquents?
Yeah, I didn't. A lot of the literature didn't talk about a whole lot of other different therapy options. So I mostly did focus on like the CBT and the DBT, as well as multi-systemic therapy. But it would be really interesting to kind of look and see what other types of therapies, especially something like the art expression therapy, how that could impact the female juveniles.
Great, thank you. I also had, oh great, there's one more question here. So it seems like mental health issues are exceedingly high in juveniles. Were you surprised there wasn't more research focusing on addressing this need?
Can you repeat that one more time?
Absolutely. So the question is, it seems like mental health issues are exceedingly high in juveniles. Were you surprised that there wasn't more research focused on addressing this need?
Oh, yeah, I was surprised. In general, I was surprised that there was not as much research about this. But yeah, in general, I think mental health issues are prevalent in all juvenile age people. And so I do wish there was more that was then focused on female juveniles who are involved with the justice system.
We have a queue going, so I'm just going to keep sending them your way. How do you want to continue this research or apply it in graduate school or in a profession or in your profession post-graduation?
Yeah, so I am still not exactly sure what I'm going to be doing post-graduation, but I have a couple of options, and I am really interested in possibly pursuing a master's degree in social work or something like that. And so I'd love to continue. I really do find the criminal justice system interesting. And so I'd love to continue learning more about that and maybe going in the direction of criminal justice. I also am possibly going to be joining the Jesuit Volunteer Corps this next year. And so some of the the positions I'm looking at are working with youth services. So hopefully I'd be working with juveniles, and I know they are juveniles who may have some of these risk factors, and so I may be able to apply some of what I've learned in order to kind of like notice that in them, and just be knowledgeable about that.
We have another kind of experience-based question. How did your experience with the Girl Empowerment Network fit into the conversation?
So the girls that were in the groups for Girls Empowerment Network, they were girls that often the teachers at their school would notice they need just a little extra, attention. They may have some of those risk factors as well. And so I think, for me, it was like I was seeing these girls and knowing that because of all their risk factors, they could be at risk for delinquency. And so, that was hard to see, but also really interesting. And, I'm glad that they had a program like Girls Empowerment Network where they were able to talk about some of the things that they're worried about. It was a really great place for them to talk about their any sort of like internal conflict, stuff like that.
Okay, we have one more here. Why do women juvenile delinquents have such a higher rate of mental disorders in comparison to male juvenile delinquents?
So the research did talk a lot just about how males often had more external aggression and females had more of that internal conflict, internal aggression, or social conflict. And a lot of the research didn't say specifically why, but I think there's a lot of research on some of that male toxic masculinity and how that shows up in males, and how females are then socialized to be a little different and to not show as much of that external aggression. So I think that could play a part in it, but also, I think there's a lot of factors.
Okay, we have about 3 minutes, so we'll see if any other questions should come up. I was curious, you noted very early on when you were talking about kind of like controlling the scope of your project that the earliest age you found, I believe you said, was age 6 in North Carolina. Mm-hmm. What were some of, like, when someone is that young, what are the causes that have them labeled as a delinquent? Does that make sense at all?
Yeah, the research that I looked at didn't specifically kind of show that, but based on what I've seen, I have to assume it might be sort of like the same status offenses where they may just be running away from home or just getting into trouble like that. And so that may be why they are involved, but yeah, I'm not sure specifically about like that age range.
So one more question for you. Did your research give you the impression that the juvenile justice system is making changes to address the concerns particular to females within the system?
There's definitely, it does definitely look like there have been some changes, and they're continuing to try to make changes. Something that I did notice in my research is that although they are trying to make changes, the criminal justice system in general is not getting as much funding. And so that means then that because female juveniles are the minority, they are getting even less funding, which then leads to, it's hard when there's just not enough money for everyone. But it does look like there have definitely been some changes that they're trying to make, which is awesome.
I think that was our last question, but I think you deserve, you were the last on the lineup. You deserve another round of applause for sticking around.
Awesome job. So mission driven, social justice. I love
it.
Great.
Yes. Such great research. So proud of all of you guys. Well, thank you all for being here, for Megan, for her great work. We'll send you guys all the kudos and love that came in through the chat so that you'll have those. If you happen to be here and you're interested, the videos are going to be edited. And so you'll be able to jump from speaker to speaker. It's going to take them a few days to do that, of course, but they will get them edited. They're going to get them uploaded. Links will come directly to the students, and then you guys can share them out widely with your friends and your family and your loved ones. So thank you all for being here. It's so nice to see so many lovely faces. Have a wonderful afternoon.